The scale can have so much control over so many women. And for so many women, we've been taught that it's not just about weight loss, it's about feeling worthy. That if the scale goes down, I am good. If the scale goes up, I am bad. Before we get into today's episode, I want to make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also, if you don't want to miss any content that's being dropped, make sure you hit that notification bell as well. I also want to know who are the people you want to hear from on this show and what topics would you like me to continue to cover. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection YouTube channel, the channel where we debunk the eat less, move more, shrink more mentality and focus on what actually matters, including your beliefs about yourselves, your body, and food, and thus the behaviors that align with both of those. I'm your host, Christina Hathaway, licensed therapist with specialized training in food and body obsession, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach. And in today's episode, we are talking about how to disconnect your self-worth from your weight and the scale. So many of you will absolutely sabotage your progress in your health and wellness journey simply by what the scale says. And here at the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast, we believe what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. So let's have a little chat about that. What's up, guys? Welcome back. I'm really excited to chat with you today about this topic. For those of you new to the Mindset Mirror Connection, I like to banter and talk about my life, things going on, help you get to know me, and let you know I'm just a regular ass woman, a regular human like everyone else, because a lot of people on social media look like they don't have fun and live life and do all the things. So I like to talk to you about that. But if you're not interested, check out the show notes below and you can fast forward to the topic at hand. I'm just coming back off a very long vacay, and my husband, my two dogs, and I drove down to Mexico. It's about a 4-hour drive, door to door, to this beachfront community called Rocky Point or Puerto Peñasco. It was awesome. We met up with 3 other couples, our friend in our friend group, and it was the first weekend that I dabbled in drinking alcohol again. So, for those of you new, I took about 9 weeks off of drinking, and it was mainly because I felt like alcohol was controlling a lot of the narrative. It was not even the narrative, the schedule. It was if there was a nice day, it was where should we go get a drink because it's a nice day out, or everything parties revolving around that, seeing friends revolved around that. And for me, over time, I just felt like I'd have to drink more and more to feel that sense of like unwinding and relaxing. And that was not good because my tolerance was too high. I didn't actually relax. And then I felt terrible, not just the next day, but days afterwards. And this is important, especially as we're getting into the mindset of menopause program of how our tolerance to alcohol changes. For most women, it actually goes the opposite. For me, my tolerance was high, but the effects were hard, much harder than when I was younger. So just wanted to throw that out there. So this weekend I thought, okay, how would I like to handle this? And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was nervous. And I was talking to my therapist about it. I'm like, I don't know. I feel almost like wrong. I felt bad. I was scared. And I'm saying those words and they don't really hit. I felt so proud about not, being able to go to events and just have some mocktails or just drink soda water and still be me, still be fun, like all the things I thought wouldn't happen. And there was this sense that I was giving up on that, I think. And finally, I was like, you know what? Stop putting so much pressure on yourself. It's not all or nothing for me. For some individuals, drinking alcohol has to be nothing because it will be all. And that's just not my experience. And I think that's not the experience of a good chunk of people who listen to the Mindset Mirror Connection. So I was a bit confused. I think that's the word. What do I want this to look like? And it was because there was a sense of discomfort because before, like I said, it was kind of, even in our friend group, it's all or nothing, where people get up and they have drinks early in the morning and they're drinking throughout the day. And that's just the mental, that's a culture, right? So this was creating a new sense of normal, which was uncomfortable. That's the word. It was uncomfortable. And I killed it. I killed it. I bought the Recess non-alcoholic seltzers. They taste so good. 35 calories each. I got the pack with the Paloma Margarita, Island Spritz, and Cosmo. And sometimes I'd put them on ice. Sometimes I'd throw like a grapefruit with some salt on it. It was bomb. And then I got the Noonie, I believe that's the name. It's the J. Shetty iced tea with adaptogens, which were only 5 calories each. Very tasty. They have green tea in them too, so they give you a little kick. And then I had probably like 2 beers and maybe a cocktail throughout the entire day. So I'd like have one, and then I'd drink a couple of my drinks, and then wait until dinner, maybe have another, drink a couple of my drinks, and come home. It was perfect. I am so proud of myself. I had so much fun. I felt so responsible because I got to drive my friends in my brand new car everywhere, and they absolutely loved it. And we sang songs and we talked and we were funny, and it was perfect. And I'm very happy. I have recreated a relationship with alcohol that, quite honestly, you guys, I never thought that I could do. It's been such a big part of my friend group. You'd be surprised how many people in the fitness industry go hard, but they pretend like they don't. And that's just not my jam. I'm not going to fucking lie to you guys, because I could go hard, and you would be surprised people in the fitness industry, they go hard. They party. And it's kind of this thing where like you go hard at the gym, you go hard outside of the gym. And that was me and a lot of my friends, a lot of people I know in this industry. And as I talked about, it just wasn't working for my body and my mindset. And I want to be the person that talks to y'all and emulates this level of balance. And I felt like I did that, which made me so happy. Very, very happy. Also, what also made me happy on my trip was Miss Liberty, our rescue now of 5 months. She entered our family 5 months ago. Got to go to the beach for the first time. And this little cute thing, she was like, I don't know about this. I don't know about this water. So she'd like run up to it. She'd smell it. She'd run back. She'd run up and smell it, run back. And finally on day 2 or 3, we were running up and down the coast. I took her on a 3-mile walk. She did so well. She did so well staying in the Airbnb with Harlem. My dog Harlem. The other dog is a cat dog. She is a cat. She doesn't want to be near the water. She only will tell you when you can pet her. She will not, she's like a cat. She'll come up to you. She sits on the back of the couch, perched up like a cat. She is a cat. So she's very chill. And we love her. And she sleeps all day. It's wonderful. So that was really exciting. On my next episode, I'm going to talk about like walking into the summer, like a lot of the things that I've struggled with, opening up that drawer of shorts and swimsuits and the barbecues and the booze and all that. So we'll talk about that next episode. But just like I was talking about, alcohol with me had such control over me. The scale can have so much control over so many women. And I haven't necessarily talked about this directly, about how to heal your worth and separate it from the scale. And for so many women, we've been taught that it's not just about weight loss, it's about feeling worthy. That if the scale goes down, I am good. If the scale goes up, I am bad. And I want to paint a picture for you, and I want you to think about yourself with this experience. So the day before, you have hit your calories, right? You might have one of those meals been a meal out, and you got your workout in, you hit your steps, you hit your protein goal, and you're feeling good. Maybe you even did a meditation to help with mindset management. And you wake up the next morning, you're like, hell yeah, the scale's going to go down. Oh, I'm going to feel so good. And it doesn't. Not only does it not go down, it goes up 2 pounds, quote unquote, 2 pounds. And you fucking spiral. Oh my God, why is this happening? This is bullshit. Why do I even try? I should just give up. I'm a failure. Why can't I just get this right? And for some of you just allow that narrative to play throughout the day. But for others, then you actually engage in behaviors. You go into the fuck it, if it's not working, I might as well not even try mentality. You start to eat in a way that actually causes you to gain more weight. And because you are not conscious of this codependent relationship with the scale, what is codependency? Creating your worth out of something outside of yourself. Okay. So that's exactly what we're talking about today. Because you're not aware of that, you gain all this weight and you think, see, weight loss just isn't for me. I can't lose weight. It's kind of that idea like weight loss is genetic, so I just can't do it. No, you can. We have to look at what is actually happening, which is your mindset. The belief about the scale is actually what's causing these disruptions in progress. It's not that you actually gained 2 pounds. But again, women have been molded to think if I'm smaller, I'm more desirable, I'm sexier, I'm acceptable. And the scale is the gatekeeper to all of that. And when it doesn't say what you want it to say, it's the ignition to this shame spiral that, again, if we don't get in front of, can cause us to sabotage our progress in general. So we're going to talk about that today. Okay, so why does our weight get tied to our worth? For a lot of women, weight loss isn't just about health. It's the sense of relief that they're trying to receive. This relief from judgment, relief from comparison, from feeling when you can walk in a room and get those compliments. You have the before and after photos, which I have had. You are not feeling like the before photo anymore. You are the after photo, and everyone's like, oh my God, what did she do? She looks so great. You are praised for shrinking. You're praised for disappearing, right? And you're taught to interpret that as when I lose weight, I am superior. I am good. I am better than, right? And you wear that weight loss as a badge of honor, and it feels great until the weight loss comes back, right? The weight comes back. You feel heartbreak. You feel shame. You feel insecurity all over again. And you internalize this belief that, wow, I'm not getting the compliments anymore. People are not talking about me in a positive light. So weight gain equals unworthy, right? And so we internalize the scale as a measure of worthiness and identity. And for those of you who are in a weight loss phase and not doing it correctly, so you're getting all the compliments right now. I shouldn't say you're not doing it correctly, but maybe you're not understanding the mindset piece. You're going to be so fucking terrified of gaining the weight back. I was very lean. Actually, the last time I went to Mexico, or not the last time, I think about when we went to Mexico a while back, I was so lean. And I'm not in my leanest body today. And I'll talk about this on the next episode. But I was so afraid of gaining any weight back, even if what I was doing was unhealthy. And it was unhealthy for me. I was eating like 1,300 calories to get there. This was in like 2017 or 18, I believe. And on the flip side, though, you will sabotage your progress if the scale goes up because you're thinking, well, it didn't, it's a moral failure. I've failed, so I might as well just give up. Because if I give up, then I'm in control of not seeing progress rather than trying really hard and not seeing progress, because that's harder for me to digest. So we've been trained to fear our bodies expanding, getting bigger. We've been trained to fear even expansion in our opinions and taking up space in our presence. So again, if you think about all of that, this idea that if we're smaller, we've shrunk down, we don't have to be seen, we can be invisible, we can not be heard even. So there's this greater metaphor to the scale being bigger, being smaller. And the healing really starts with who taught us this? Where do we learn this from? And how can we begin to use our logical, mature minds to manage these thoughts and feelings? I interrupt this episode to bring this month's comment contest. This month, I am giving away a 5-product bundle for Legion Athletic products. Legion is by far my favorite supplement line as they don't have a bunch of junk in their products. Plus, like their protein powder is by far the best tasting on the market. All you have to do is drop a positive comment under this video, maybe a question about the topic at hand, maybe how you relate to the episode. Then you will be put in a drawing for this amazing package that I will draw a name at the end of the month and announce on the show. Now, back to the episode. Here's what I see again and again with clients. So they restrict their food, right? And they feel this sense of control. Because again, if my worth is based on how I look, what the scale says, how I can shrink, then not eating enough is a sense of control. And of course, if we're doing it in a even conservative or non-conservative way, you're going to see weight loss, which makes the person feel validated. But if we're doing it in this really restrictive way, you will burn out. Life is going to get in the way. And there's going to be times where you can't hit that really restrictive number. I've been there. And I would ruminate about it. Like, oh my God, do I have to eat 1,100 calories tomorrow because I didn't eat my 1,350 today? What am I going to do about that? Do I need to work out harder? And that shame, that rumination can do many, many things. You could go harder in the paint and eat less and less, but you're only creating more burnout and more burnout because we've already talked about how the brain and research has shown how the brain will literally make you then ruminate about food. Think about it and obsess over food when you're eating in such low calorie intake. Hoard food and then flip side binge on food. And that binging then has a rebounding of shame, a rebounding of self-abandonment, and you panic and start over again. For a lot of the women that I work with, they have this idea that they are the disciplined ones. They're very type A, they're very successful. They've been really successful in so many areas of their lives, and they've tied their success, pass or fail, with who they are and how good they are. And this dieting thing, though, just is that one thing they can't fucking figure out. And that is such a blow to their identities. They think that same mentality, pass or fail, applies here as well. And it doesn't. As we see, even with I'm restricting food, I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing, there are feedback loops in place in the body and the mind that don't allow for that to happen. Or if we bypass those feedback loops, then we're actually entering into incredibly disordered or eating disordered patterns. If we bypass the feedback loops, I have bypassed the feedback loops. And now in my very healthy mind, I'm like, wow, I tricked my brain into thinking that what I was doing was okay and would bypass when the brain was trying to course correct. I would learn how to bypass it. It's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. So where does this come from? It's kind of where I was going with this. If you have a family that's hyper fixated on appearance, obviously that's going to be a big deal. Now, you may not have had them make direct comments to you about your body, but you may have heard really positive comments about people. Or, oh, did you see such and such? Her ass is so big now. I had one of my in-laws say that, and I was like, oh. The reaction, I don't think they were ready for my reaction. They may say it about themselves, like, oh, I can't eat that. I've gained so much weight. Summer's coming. I want to look good in my swimsuit. You might see them diet. You might hear them scream when they step on the scale and talk about how frustrated they are. Parents, don't talk to your kids about your weight. Stop doing that. That is putting them in a really poor position, especially if you are having this visceral reaction to your weight. They don't need to know that. That's something that we need to keep to ourselves, because then they're going to start questioning their own weight. So having a parent that's hyper fixated on appearance, making comments about people's appearance, good versus bad. I just had Michaela Foss on the pod this past Monday, and she talked about that. Like when you're explaining your best friends or people that you love and adore, and you're talking about she's such a great listener, she has great work ethic, and so on and so forth. So you're not saying she weighs 145 pounds, she has 10% body fat. You're not saying that. You might say she's really fit, but that word even could be she enjoys fitness. So when we have parents that have put the good versus bad mentality in our heads, they've planted that seed, it's only going to grow. And we're going to think, well, that's how they look at everyone else. How are they going to look at me? The other things, though, are a sense of control, right? If I can look a certain way, then I don't have to feel the shame, feel the abandonment in my life, feel the disappointment of having parents who didn't show up for me in the way that they were supposed to. If I can look a certain way, I get the praise that I desired from my family because I'm thin. And that gives me a sense of control and keeps me away from really hard feelings. And like I talked about, the shame, the disappointment, the guilt, the abandonment, the trauma. And for a lot of people, this is very real. They think there's nothing to see here because look at, I'm perfect. I'm a size 2 and I can feel good in a swimsuit and I look like the ideal. There's nothing to see here. Look somewhere else. Go look at her. She's in a bigger body. She must be dealing with us so much. Stop lying to yourself, right? It's a sense of control. It's a sense of control to not get out of control, to not spiral into all of your trauma and your shame. If I can just look a certain way, I am in control of the narrative that you make up about me, even though that narrative is so, so wrong. I am so, so insecure. And, eventually your truth will be seen in other ways that aren't your body, because we all know someone who's very thin or fit who's not nice or has shit relationships. I just interviewed someone who has shit relationships and is very knowledgeable in the area of health and wellness. Shit relationships. So there's that sense of control. So that sense of control, again, can come from family members who abandoned you, either emotionally or physically, family members who controlled the environment. So the mother who you had to walk on eggshells around, so you found you couldn't control her or the environment. The environment was always controlled for you. So you found that diet and exercise was the way to do that. Being thinner was the way to do that. There's so much to it, but it does stem from childhood. And then throw on top of that media, the before and after photos, thinking everything had a number on it. So you had that number of, I'm down 40 pounds on hydroxycut, right? And she's holding the pants that you think she used to wear, when we now know all of those girls in the before and afters are fitness models. They're not real people. And there's so many things. I could probably do a before and after photo right now and make me look 20 pounds heavier and not change anything. So just want to say that. So that's where it comes from. Let's talk about the scale itself. So what happens when we step on the scale? The scale is a snapshot in time of your total mass. And I want you to think about all the parts of your body that have mass, that have a weight to them. You have your skeletal bone, you have your tissue, which includes muscle tissue and your organs, you have fat mass, you have water, okay? And overnight, only one of those things can change drastically, and that is water. And how does water change in our body? So many ways. You could have a higher carb meal at the end of the day. Again, for every 1 gram of carbs you consume, you maintain about 3 grams of water, but we want that water. You may have worked out really hard the day before, and your body's in the recovery process. It's a bit more inflamed. You may have been a bit constipated and you haven't had a bowel movement. You may be hormonal and you're about to have your period, which is shedding tissue that has grown in your body, additional tissue. There's so many things that can cause water retention or changes on the scale. And these have nothing to do with you being fatter, but that's where you go. That's where you go. I'm fatter. I'm a disgusting piece of shit because I'm so fat because I gained 2 pounds overnight. I've had people say that I cry myself into oblivion for the rest of the day because of that one number, that one snapshot in time. Do me a favor. Weigh yourself tomorrow morning, drink a glass of water, weigh yourself again, have your breakfast, weigh yourself again, have your first bowel movement, if you're me, because I have to go through that whole process to do that, weigh yourself again. You will see that number goes up and down even throughout the day. So wanted to throw that out there. Weight anomalies are real. Well, weight anomalies are the things that cause the scale to go up that have nothing to do with fat loss, and even go down. Because you'll see people go on like keto, for example, and lose like 10 pounds within the first week. It's all water. It's all water. So good. So how can we rebuild our worth? For some people, the scale has been a measure of success. Like if you were a wrestler or a gymnast, dancers, I know in some dance worlds, they bring the scale out and they would make sure you're a certain weight. Even like flight attendants back in the day had to be a certain weight. Oh, I know what I was watching. I was watching the Race to the Crown show, which show the jockeys. You can tell that they're very malnourished just looking at their faces. They're very lean. Even in Formula One, you have to weigh a certain weight. So there's that part too. I don't want to discount those people because their sport actually created this ideal of you have to hit this number. And if you don't hit this number, you can't compete. So how do we rebuild? So understanding, of course, and understanding where it comes from, understanding the story you're telling yourself about it. That's probably the most important thing because it's not necessarily what happened to us. You could have a sibling who had the same exact parent as you that doesn't put their worth into the scale. That's actually me and my brother. My brother has always been a bit bigger. I want him to be a little healthier, but he's not like super unhealthy. He has some mobility issues from an accident, but other than that, I don't think he has many ailments. At least he hasn't shared them with me. And then there's me, who's always been like, I've got to look a certain way and have a six pack and right? And we have the same exact mother. So the takeaways are understanding where it comes from. I'm a true believer if we don't understand why we do things, that change will only be temporary. Then understanding the story that I tell myself, both positive and negative, and if needed, understanding the secondary story that I tell myself, and thus the behaviors that I do or do not do based on both. Okay? Because again, if I go into the buckets and I start eating everything, then yeah, I might gain actual weight on the scale. So you're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then when I start catching myself in that spiral, if I'm going into the spiral, I'm going to get curious. Oh, interesting. What am I saying about myself right now? What emotions am I feeling? Right? And once I get curious and I understand, I'm going to create confidence. And I'm going to say, hey, this is one thing that is pointing towards I'm not doing well. Look at these other 7 things that point towards I am doing well. I think 7 is better than 1. So I'm going to go with the 7, and I'm just going to have this weight anomaly today and be okay with it. Accept that your mass in that moment is what it is. It has nothing to do with your progress. And just keep doing that along the way. Obviously, this program is super helpful with that. And just remind yourself again, I had them written down here, like weight is not a fixed number. It's a data point, one that fluctuates daily, as we talked about, and has nothing to do with fat gain or fat loss. We can actually see weight change on the scale from 1 to 7 pounds. 1 to 7 pounds in a 24-hour period. Again, to remind you, water retention from high sodium or inflammation, your menstrual cycle and hormones, a high carb meal, lack of bowel movements, a tough lift, poor sleep and high cortisol is another one I didn't mention, and travel, especially during the summer. I just had a client come back from Barcelona, and while she weighed in right at the same weight that she left at, which I thought was great, she still feels icky and bloated. So she probably actually lost weight on her trip, which neither is good nor bad. It's just that happens a lot in our program because we teach people how to eat, and they don't have to go into a vacation like with this all or nothing mentality, which I'll talk about next episode. So do not panic if you see the scale go up by 2 pounds. You are not backsliding. This is solely biology and where your body is at in that day and time. When you attach the meaning, right, to that shift, I'm failing, I need to restrict, you're reinforcing the story that isn't even true, okay? And we love the scale. It is data. It is not drama. I'm never looking at a client's numbers on a day-to-day basis. I'm always looking at them on an average over the week and then an average over the month. For clients listening, there's a reason why in our step down programs, we set goals for a month, not a day. So that's that. I hope this was helpful for you all. If you want to comment below, we still have our different contests we're running. If you're listening on YouTube, we have our comment contest. I want to know, what is it that you want to work on when it comes to detaching your worth from your weight, as well as for those listening on Apple or Spotify, you can leave a comment and or a 5-star rating and review. As I'd mentioned, we've had some change around here. I've been getting the best compliments, you guys. If you could take what you're writing to me on social media and just put it in a little testimonial. Just put it over there. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As a reminder, keep your eyes and ears open for the Mindset of Menopause program. This is going to be a 4-month program that helps you work through the feeling snappy, the feeling like your mood's all over the place, feeling like you can rip someone's head off. I get that. The changes in body composition, helping you from gaining too much visceral fat when we're in an unhealthy place, learning how to feed yourself quality foods that help with these hormonal changes, learning how to train in a way that also supports hormonal changes and actually hijacks them in a good way. We're also going to have the option to receive private in-home testing with consultation with the partners, the medical staff that I have partnered with. So this is wraparound. It is amazing. You will also have the option to use your FSA or HSA spending accounts. So keep that in mind. So just keep your eyes and ears open for that. And I'm going to leave you the same way I always do, reminding you that what you say in your mind, you see in the mirror. Talk to you later.